So, generally generally when going into a spirit fight, I will set up a team designed around what I'm generally going for. Whether that be if I'm going for weapon attack for a sword character, or melee attacks if I'm going for a brawler instead. What I currently have set up is a lot of spirits that are designed around weapon attack. I do have a few others that are based on weapon attack. I do have one other main one that is specifically weapon attack and move speed. Well, two actually. But the one that I'm currently using is one of the better ones for what I'm planning, because it's specifically weapon attack, as I don't really need the move speed because I have that through some other ways. That of which is through the skill tree, which you get by beating enemies prior to the final battle. Less important at the moment, because once you reach this point, you basically only have 2 or 3 remaining. Then the second part of going into the final battle is picking my character. Well, picking my characters in this case. Since I'm going for true ending, I am allowed to pick 3 different characters. Generally, who I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with Lucina. My secondary character is going to be Cloud, and my third and final character, which hopefully I don't actually have to use, will be Sephiroth. And I'm actually going to change the controls. Never mind. I'm not going to change the controls. And so now that I have a series of characters lined up, I am able to go into this with my weapon attack up spirits, since that's what I'm using, is I'm using weapon attack. I also have a strong primary spirit, which boosts your damage in general, even if they don't match up with other requirements. The start of this is mainly just some basic platforming, rising up as you get closer and closer to the final battle. Most of this I will quickly skip, but there are segments where you will go into fights. Like this one. For the most part, spirits, these characters will defeat themselves, but it does make it a bit faster if you defeat them as well. Generally, at this point, it's best to try to avoid losing a character, as you can use them later on for more important segments. And after each mini fight, you are given a tomato in order to heal up. I am going to skip ahead to a later point soon, because there's also a point in this as to which you need to hit the 2 main bosses that you will be fighting later on. I'm going to skip ahead now, because this is just leading into more of those mini fights. This is kind of just showing you, like, kind of the final things that you'll see as you go into this. I'm mostly trying to stay out of the fights as much as I can, letting the dark and light fight each other, and just kind of bashing them in the other side's direction, just to get it a little bit more even, and to keep myself out of harm's way as much as I can, because I don't really need extra damage going into fights. There we go. So this is the final part of the first segment of the battle, and then you start going into the second segment. The second segment is what's known as the boss rush. The boss rush is exactly how it sounds. You go through fighting several bosses in a row, and it's not quite the easiest. I ended up getting Dracula as one of my first opponents. Dracula is one of the bosses that is a slight bit more annoying to deal with, as in his first phase, you can only strike his head. As you can see right there, I didn't hit his head like I would have liked. And I'm going to get through the first phase as fast as I can. And I did prepare a stronger attack right away, the second I could, so that I could get in some extra damage, because it looks like I might lose Lucina in a short while, due to her being at a very high percentage, which means she's going to take a lot of knockback in comparison to other characters. I'm going to try to hit a boss that's... never mind. I'm going to try to hit a boss that is on the white side, as that'll keep these sides even, and so therefore, like you saw, the yellow side won't hit me with those orbs as often. Because if one side has too many in comparison to the other, they can end up doing more free damage compared to the outside of actual boss fights. And that's not quite something I want. There we go. So you go through about 6 total fights, and they're not incredibly hard due to you having, hopefully having, a really strong spirit. Between the fights, you will see that there, every time you defeat 2, there will be a heart for you to collect, so that you don't take too much damage in comparison to other fights. Well, so that it's a bit fairer on the player, rather than just taking incredible amounts of damage with nothing saving you from accidents. And as you can see, I'm trying to go through these as fast as I can, so I take the least amount of damage possible, and I just ended up with the Ganon fight. The Ganon fight is really annoying, because what you have to do is you have to go behind Ganon, and you have to hit his green glowing tail. This part is extra difficult, because you have to get behind him while he's always trying to face you. I'm also trying to get in some nice strong smash attacks, just add in that extra damage as much as I can, trying to get over top of him before he is able to hit me back. He will also try to push you to his other side, which is not fun, but it's also not incredibly hard as long as you have a character that can go pretty high. Cloud, thankfully, with one extra jump, can get over Ganon pretty easily. And now I'm on to the last fighting segment, which is Rathalos, a giant dragon, and then one more, which is Marx, which is a character from the Kirby series. Both of those are kind of annoying to fight. Rathalos just kind of goes around as much as he can, and at some points will go into the background so as to not be able to get hit as easily. That almost missed, which would have been extremely dangerous. I hit him with a Deku Nut, which allows for a little bit extra stun as well as doing an okay amount of damage. And now this is on to the final fight. I want to get right into this immediately before he starts firing off some orbs, otherwise it just spends some extra time waiting for him to come back, because they do have a certain delay before they can return. I do want to hit him as much as I can before he goes off onto a rapid teleportation, because then he starts getting even harder to hit, and I do not want to get sucked into there. Mars just spends a lot of time avoiding, which makes him a very hard fight sometimes. Okay, there we go. And that is the end of Phase 2. Now I will be going into Phase 3, which is the hardest segment of this because you are fighting 2 endgame bosses at once. Generally what I try to do going through this fight is I try to attack one of them, focus on one of them, until they reach that point of... Oh goodness. Because if I can get one of them to their temporary, to a state in which they are more easily damaged, then the other one will focus on. Just like this. This is a point where now Galeen will try smacking down on Darkon before too much time passes, and they will hit each other, but what I want to do is I want to avoid getting hit by them each. Right there is a nice one. Okay, I managed to get one of them into a state as to which they can get attacked. And I just got immediate... I think I just got the other one. No, I did not. I thought I got... Okay. This is a state where it's just kind of dodging these big waves, because these waves do a lot of damage when you're inside of them. They're not that hard to avoid, but they can be quite annoying sometimes. Galeen is going to be easier right here. And now I'm gonna smack down on both of them if I can, but also try not to die. Okay. Now Darkon is in a state where oh goodness. That is not good. That is not good. I really want to hit... Okay. So this is a point where I just kind of want to stay out of the fight as much as I can, because these guys will explode. And that makes it harder to do the fight. Come on. Okay, I now have just lost Cloud, but this does mean that I will have Sephiroth for the final segment. And once again, I want to go into avoiding their big cataclysm waves, I guess. And then... now I just want to smack down and then head over here, because that area will be the safest. Both of them are very close to death right now, so it shouldn't be too hard to survive until the final strike. Okay, now Galeen is dead, which means that now I only have to worry about Darkon. Which, in and of its own, is a little bit difficult. Because, well, Darkon is probably the harder of the two. I might end up going into my final character, which you do get one character back in this fight. I'm trying not to die. Okay, and that is the end of the fight. Once both of them are dead, you will then go into the final cutscene of the game. And it's actually really cool, but I will not spoil it here. So you will have to find it for yourself. It is a very well done cutscene, and I very much suggest looking through at some of the scenes of the game. They are very well done, but I'm going to skip that. And that is World of Light's final battle.